First of all, it is my contention that Kobe Bryant was a greater singular component to a championship team than was Michael Jordan. I am not arguing that there is a statistical argument for Kobe Bryant. There isn't. Okay, I mean, they're just you just compare their numbers. Michael's career scoring average. Michael averaged more points, more assists, I believe more rebounds. He shot better from the field across the board. This is my point, though. This is my contention. My contention is that Kobe Bryant had significantly less help than did Michael Jordan. Significantly less. In other words, for the two players to be as close as they are in championships, in other words, for Kobe Bryant to have come within 2 games of completing a second three-peat with significantly less help, what it indicates is that Kobe was actually a greater component to a championship team than was Michael Jordan. And I know that that's blasphemy to a lot of people, okay? But I will lay it out, okay? So the first thing you need to understand is that defense is more valuable to a championship team than is offense. In other words, it is easier historically to win the NBA championship without a great score than it is to win without a great defender. I know that's surprising information for a lot of people, but it's true. 55 out of 61 NBA champions have had a current all-defense team member. And the other 6, they had a player that had been or would be all-defense within 2-3 years. Only 40, and I shouldn't say only, but 40 of 61 champions had a top 10 score. Okay, so 55 out of 61 had an all-defense team member, and I'm assuming, just for the sake of argument, I'm going back beyond, back into the 60s when there actually wasn't an all-defense team, but we know that the Celtics won virtually all of those championships, and that Bill Russell would have been, first team all-defense during those seasons, and probably John Havlicek as well. Historically, you can win the NBA championship. So when I say that Michael had more help, Michael had more defensive help. Okay. He also had slightly more rebounding help, which is also very, very important to a championship team. So a lot of you are thinking, okay, well, Kobe had Shaq. Well, the thing is, historically, you can replace Shaq's points more easily than you can replace Scottie Pippen's defensive acumen. The thing is about defense is a limited resource, and without it, teams really don't have a real chance to win the NBA championship. Most first-round draft picks can score. People, rookies coming into the league, they can all score. Very few of them, almost none of them really can play defense. And only a certain percentage of NBA players actually really get good at it or want to get good at it enough to excel at it. So that is, defensive acumen is it's such a limited resource that Scottie Pippen was more impactful to a championship team. The other thing that you need to understand is that even offensively, Michael had a tremendous amount of help from players that deferred to him offensively. For instance, Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is the highest three-point shooting percentage player in NBA history. And in fact, Michael played significant seasons with 3 of the 50 highest three-point shooting percentage players in NBA history. Steve Kerr, B.J. Armstrong, and Craig Hodges. He played a total of 11 seasons with these 3 players. Okay. B.J. Armstrong is ranked 12th all time in three-point shooting percentage, and Craig Hodges is ranked 50th. Again, a total of 11 seasons. Conversely, Kobe played with Steve Nash, Jason Capono, and Glenn Rice for a total of about 200 games, not quite 2.5 seasons, okay? And he played with Nash and Capono during their final seasons. And to tell you the truth, Glenn Rice, even when he played with Glenn Rice, that was pretty much the end of Glenn Rice's career as well. So the 11 seasons playing with one of the great three-point shooters of all time compared to 2, that's a pretty significant advantage. It's also important to note that these players had their best seasons when they were playing away from Michael Jordan. Steve Kerr's best season was the 94-95 season when Michael missed all but the last 17 games of the season. Craig Hodges had his best seasons with Milwaukee. And B.J. Armstrong became an all-star while Michael was retired his first season. So, in 92, 93, 94, I'm sorry. So, it's not like these players became great because of Michael's greatness and because Michael's gravity was so significant that these players had such open shots. No, these were great shooters that Michael was able to play with. Basically because of the front office, to tell you the truth. Jerry Reinsdorf. So Michael had more to play with. If you look at adjusted defensive rating ranking historically, you'll find that NBA champions almost always have great defenses. And in fact, according to that metric, it's right on Basketball Reference, adjusted defensive rating ranking. Okay. So, in the last 35 years, only 7 teams have failed to finish in the top 8 in adjusted defensive rating. And 4 of those teams were defending champions that were that had been top 8 in defense the prior year. So let's say the 2013 Heat, the 2001 Lakers, Those were teams that basically kind of took it easy throughout the season, but they were great defensive teams that could crank it up during the playoffs, and that's what they did, and they defended titles. You cannot win the NBA championship without an outstanding defense. You've got to have one of the best defenses in the league. Okay? So the question is, how many times did Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan have defensive help such that they had a fair chance to win the NBA championship? In other words, how many times did they finish top 8? How many times did their teams finish top 8? Okay. Now, the Chicago Bulls from 1988 to 1998, every single season had a top 8 defense, with and without Michael Jordan. Let me say that one more again. They had top 8 defenses with Michael Jordan and without Michael Jordan. Okay, as a matter of fact, the 94 Bulls, I think, had the number 3 adjusted defensive rating. Okay. So Kobe only enjoyed 8 such seasons. Okay. Kobe only enjoyed 8 such seasons. And Kobe went to the finals 7 times. Part of my argument that Kobe is the GOAT, and I define it a little bit differently. Now, I say that he's the greatest singular component to a championship team than anyone else in NBA history, is that when you compare Kobe to Michael Jordan and LeBron, and then you look at the teammates, what you find is that Kobe's teammates thrived while they were playing with Kobe, whereas with both Michael Jordan and LeBron, their teammates thrived playing away from them. Both LeBron and Michael Jordan's teammates, the major teammates, had their best seasons playing away on different teams, or, you know, in the case of with Michael, on the same team when Michael wasn't playing. So what this tells me is that Kobe had a lot less to work with. A lot less. Essentially, what happened with both LeBron and Michael is that both of these players played with terrifically talented teammates that deferred to them. Okay? And gave them the opportunity to shine offensively and get the glory, when the truth of the matter is, you aren't going to beat a Michael Jordan team, because even when Michael Jordan is on the bench, you're still playing against very, very good players. You're not going to beat a LeBron James team, because even though Ben Wallace can't do it for 45 minutes anymore, he's still a dominant defensive player in spurts. So I want you to consider Tony Kukoc and Ron Harper. Now, I said in a prior video that Michael had given up successive 30-point performances in the playoffs and in playoff losses before Scottie Pippen emerged as a great defensive player. The player that he gave up those 30 points to was Ron Harper, exactly his size, okay, plays his position. Ron Harper was a 20-point per game scorer before he came to play with the Bulls. And while he was playing with the Bulls, because I know I'm going to hear a lot of people say, oh, well, he broke his leg and he wasn't the same player. No, while he was playing with the Bulls, Ron Harper scored at least 20 points 11 times. Ron Harper typically averaged about 7-8 points a game during that 95 to 99 reign. He was deferring to Michael. You've got a role player that on any given night, he can get you 20 points. Tony Kukoc. The year after Michael retired, after 98, in the year 1999, Tony Kukoc averaged almost 19 points a game. And I believe 7 rebounds and 5 assists, and had been 6th man of the year. He typically averaged 12, 13 points a game during that Bulls run. So again, and this is on top of the B.J. Armstrongs. This is on top of the Horace Grants. This is on top of Scottie Pippen and that's going to be a big part of this video when we talk about Scottie Pippen. Michael's teammates, they deferred to him, to him. They deferred to him and really underachieved individually. And now, you could say, okay, well, it was for the best for the team, it was for the good of the team. And I get that. I understand that. All I'm saying is that Kobe had less to play with. Okay. Kobe had less help. And for him to have gotten almost as many championships as Michael did within 2 games tells me Kobe was a greater component to a championship team.